Greetings. Greetings. Used to be named Uncle Odd, but now I'm known as Uncle Vigilante. And as you can see by the fact I'm wearing a gold chain with a Bitcoin on it, I'm kind of a big deal. Yeah.
Oh, we're already starting with rookie mistakes here.
There is one thing that my 43 attorneys that I just hired told me that I needed to say, which is a disclaimer. Don't take any of my advice. Don't take anything that I say on this show or any of my guests as sage counsel. Why? Why? Because I don't know shit.
Whoa! Arrr! Mateys! Welcome to the...
Ahoy!
Ahoy!
Ahoy! Arrr! Woo!
Crypto Vigilante! Uncle Vigilante in the house wearing my Tampa Bay Buccaneers jersey, and no Tom Brady won't pay you any commission on this promotion because the Buccaneers, what are they? What are they, Raphael?
Pirates! Arrr, baby!
Arrr! Hey, Raphael, let me show you something. I have something to show you.
Show me!
What do you think about that?
Woohoo! All-time high, baby! Arr, baby! Arr!
Oh, because what are we talking about today? We're talking about pirating. Is everybody with us? 1, 2, 3. Arr!
Arr, baby! Arr!
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to get 2 hours of just us screaming "Arr!" and dancing and everything. Why? Why? Well, we're going to tell you why. This is a pretty special day. You know, let me just stop here, and before I introduce the man, I just want to share something with you that I have learned over the years, and it's about the 4 stages of competence, and it really relates to what we're going to talk about today, and it relates to this channel, and it relates to this guest, my co-host, Raphael Laverde, who is the Crypto Vigilante, the man who has single-handedly made so many people fortunes. Because why? Because they subscribe to his newsletter, cryptovigilante.com, dollarvigilante.com, and guess what? They listened to him. They actually acted on his good counsel because that's what he does. He helps give guidance. He does all the heavy lifting for the rest of us out here so that we can just safely be told what to do. Now, the 4 stages of competence that I want to share. How do you get to be super competent, right? I want to just frame this in this channel, the Uncle Vigilante channel, which, by the way, is named the Uncle Vigilante channel because of Raphael. He gave birth to me. If you look at the very first interview down all the way below, smash that like button, hit subscribe, tell everybody in the world about it, because the more people who knows about Arrr, the higher the price is going to go. And the more adoption, you're going to learn all about it. We're going to learn all about it because why? We're newbies. We don't know shit. We don't know shit. We don't know shit, but that
we don't know shit.
Now, the 4 stages of competence. The first stage is unconscious incompetence. What does that mean? It just simply means I don't know what I don't know. So when I had a friend the second week of January give me a reach out, no, not a reach around, a reach out. And he said, hey, Uncle Odd, you got to buy some XRP. I'm like, stage 1, I am.
unconscious incompetence. I don't know what XRP is. I'm like, great. What's XRP? And he said, it's cryptocurrency. I said, great. Don't know anything about it. That is stage one, my friends. That is unconscious incompetence. Now, then I went and I started figuring it out as a newbie. I'm like, I think I need to get into this asset class. Don't know this guy from Adam who told me to get into XRP, but I just got a commission check. And I'm like, you know what? Why not? So I just said, I'm going all in on this. I'm getting into this crypto stuff. I'm 56 years old. I don't know shit, but you know what? My runway is kind of short. And I think this is an asset class that could go like that. Woo! But who the hell am I? I'm unconsciously incompetent. But I went out and I did my initial work. And I was consciously incompetent. I knew I didn't know shit. That's why I started this channel, so that I could share my journey with others who may not know shit either. And we could, on our journey to becoming competent, we might be able to learn together. And I heard about this conference called the Crypto Vigilante Conference. And I'm like, I don't know shit, but that sounds like there might be some people who do. And I signed up for it. It was a two-day conference that you could zoom in. You could get into from your phone because of the COVIDs. And this is the man who organized it all. 2 days of just nothing but just pure. I mean, dopamine hits is the best way I could put it. He had so many great speakers, and I started learning. But I did realize that, man, there's a lot of people in the Telegram discussion that are really asking JV newbie questions just like me. I mean, like basic shit. And so that's when I did a reach out, not a reach around. I'm just providing that disclaimer. I did a reach out to Raphael, who obviously he's the host of the Telegram chat. He's the host of the whole damn thing. He's a freaking Crypto Vigilante. And I said, hey man, I have a channel, it's the Uncle Odd channel, I don't know shit, but I'm getting new into crypto. Would you consider coming on the show? And he's like, hey man, can we do it like in 2 hours? I'm like your style. Sure. So we did. And he came on, and that's when he kind of rebranded me as Uncle Vigilante, and the name stuck. And so you can call me Uncle Vigilante, Uncle V, Uncle Odd. I don't care. Just don't call me late for the moon coins. Like, Arrr! So that's where I started to becoming consciously incompetent. But when you start just getting on the bike and learning how to ride it, all of a sudden, stage one, which I don't know shit about anything, stage two, which is crypto is hard. I'm starting to learn crypto is hard. Then you enter into stage three, which is conscious competence. So I can tell you from the time I initially chatted with the Crypto Vigilante to now, I feel like I'm consciously competent. I kind of know how this works. I've started to understand the language, but I am far, far away of knowing shit about so much, because this ecosystem, this crypto ecosystem, this asset class, this blockchain ecosystem, there's so much to learn. And Raphael has forgotten more about it than I'll ever know. Because why? Because he's at stage 4, ladies and gentlemen. He is unconsciously competent. That means his knowledge is automatic. So with that as a tee up, Raphael, welcome to the ship. Arrr!
Arrg, matey! Thank you for having me, Uncle Vigilante. Good to see you. I'm really happy you kept going
Yes,
with the
sir.
Uncle Vigilante baptism that we gave you after the conference. So happy to see you do that. We've been, since then, we've had a lot of events. We had Anarchapulco where we hung out with a lot of pirates from all around the world. It was amazing. And yeah, so Uncle Odd, thank you for the introduction. I appreciate it. You're completely right. We do this because we love crypto, because we love the free market, and because, well, it's, you know, what we do is teach, and we can't do anything else but this, because this is what we love.
Yeah.
So all we do is this all day, all the time, because we love this sector. We love this space. Yeah. And we have ongoing research at the Crypto Vigilante. Our team is very eclectic, which we kind of chose and handpicked on purpose.
Yeah.
So that we would have like a very rigorous scholarly debate constantly.
Right.
I think that's the one thing I'm very proud of is our team. Jeff Berwick, Ed Bugos.
How big is your team, if you don't mind?
So we have Ed Bugos, who's our director of research, old school gold bug. He's a currency expert, world-renowned contrarian economist, has been a contrarian, calling out things in the market that other people have been for forever. He's been calling things out that everyone thought he was crazy, but he's always been proven right. He called the bubble in 2008. Wow. He's phenomenal. He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So we have our bullion and junior stock analyst, Keshup, out of India. He's phenomenal. So he focuses on bullion mostly, and stocks, bonds, and all that stuff. Same as Ed. Jeff Berwick focuses on everything. He's kind of like, he sees everything from a macro perspective. Yeah. And so that affords me and the Crypto Vigilante team the ability to
go micro,
focus on crypto, because we're talking about parabolically accelerating technology that doesn't stop, that demands your constant attention. And what I mean by constant, I mean literally constant.
Right.
Like, this is all we do. And it's not work for us because we love it. So it's constant attention on what's happening in the crypto market, in the cryptoverse, because it's so vast, so interdisciplinary, so multidisciplinary, and it just keeps going constantly, always.
Can I make a confession?
Sure, go for it.
Father Verde, may I make a confession? I want to confess that ever since I, bought my first XRP coin, the journey ever since, my life has forever changed for the better. And I will tell you that prior to that, I spent a whole lot of time battling, most people know, what I call the Druid Babylonian bastards, who are the people who have impacted this world that Jeff Berwick, the Dollar Vigilante, talked so much about. I had 6 channels that were banned just because I talked about it, right? They just censored the crap out of me. So far, I haven't gotten one strike on this channel, and I'm over 1,000 subscribers. Still teeny, but it gives me a platform to be able to talk to really good people, and we're building a cool kind of community here of newbies and people who just want to learn. But I will tell you that the journey that I've gone through and the pleasure that I've had of being able to listen to Jeff on his walks, being able to listen to any video interview of you that I can find, being able to follow along with the Dollar Vigilante and the Crypto Vigilante and the newsletters, and then getting into your communities on Telegram. And so what you realize quickly is that all of the problems in this world tend to just disappear. It's like you don't give a shit. You don't tune into TV anymore. No, we're talking about, and they say money doesn't buy happiness, but it sure does damn help. And this is a way of being able to leverage, even if your net worth is not a lot of money. I mean, this is something where sports fans, you can do what I suggest people do, is go through your freaking house and go to your Facebook market or Craigslist or whatever, and just simplify and clarify your life. Sell every freaking thing that, you haven't used for 6 months, and just get it out there. Take whatever for it. And let's say you go through that process and you end up with $500. Take that $500 now and start getting into the game. Figure out step one, how to get your fiat currency from your bank to an exchange, to purchase some coins, to be able to get it off the exchange into a hot wallet or a cold storage wallet. None of that makes sense to you if you are a brand newbie, if you are unconsciously incompetent. But get on the bike and start riding and it'll come. But I just want to confess, Father Verde, is that guys like you have changed my life, and I'm forever grateful, because I know when the shit hits the fan in this world, there's going to be a community of pirates who scream "Arr!" where that ship is a safe space for us people who still possess critical thinking skills. What say you?
Amen, brother. R, baby, R. Yeah, 100%. And we're sitting on the shoulders of giants, right? People that have fought for freedom, liberty of expression, people that have fought for the free market, right? Yeah. We sit, especially at the Crypto Vigilante, we emphasize the Austrian School of Economic Theory. And
what is that?
Love it. What is that? Well, it's actually, I can tell you the story. I think I personally can trace it back to Aristotle.
Okay.
Because so I think that the Druid Babylonian bastards kept a lot of things from us that were of the Greeks. So I see, for example, the story that they tell us regarding what happened at the Library of Alexandria to be kind of a suspicious story, like many of their stories, right?
Yeah, could be.
I think that Aristotle and the Greeks wrote a lot more, and actually they confessed to them writing a lot more. I just, I wonder if a lot of these writings are actually lost forever. So it's weird that when you read Aristotle, he jumps from his ethics to his politics.
Okay.
Which is really, really weird, logically speaking, because during his ethics, his Nicomachean ethics, he's talking about using virtue as a way, as your road to happiness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he talks about virtue from an individual perspective, from a personal perspective, right?
Yeah.
So how is it that from a personal perspective, you achieve happiness by practicing the virtues, which he says that the more you practice the virtues, the more unpredictable you become. And by virtues, he's emphasizing no extremes, right? So for Aristotle, a virtue is hitting the mark, is what he would say. He would say a virtue is hitting the mark, and it's the extreme between two excesses, between an excess and a deficiency, right? So if you're hitting the mark, if you're constantly trying to aim the mark, he gave the example of courage, right? So you're courageous when you know when to harness fear and know when to harness rashness. So a soldier that's in a bunker, if he runs out really quick, he's completely rash. He's not courageous. He's actually dumb because he's exposing himself to the enemy, and he's going to get shot. But a courageous soldier knows when to harness fear and hide in the foxhole, and knows when to get out and fight. So it's in that balance, right? So Aristotle talked about this from an individual, personal perspective, right? So how is it that he jumps to the politics and what they teach you in school, which I think is wrong, and I think that they do it on purpose to indoctrinate you, really, so that you always bow down to authority, and so that you don't think for yourself, so that you don't discover things like crypto, for example.
Yep.
So what they're doing is weird, because you're jumping from the ethics to the politics, and all of a sudden what people will tell you is that the most noble thing a man can do is participate in the political realm, according to Aristotle. I think that's bullshit. So some Dominican monks in Salamanca, Spain, during the scholastic era, when Aristotle came into the West, right? Aristotle came to the West through the Islamic world, right? They brought that into the West. So then the Dominican monks in Spain started reading Aristotelian texts and started dialoguing with Aristotelian texts. And they realized, they're like, wait a minute, there's a illogical incoherency here. If you, as an individual person, achieve a magnanimous state, right? A great soul state of being virtuous, you achieve happiness from within, almost like just very self-fulfilling life, then how is it that he jumps to the politics where you start deferring responsibility to others instead of still harnessing on your own? So that was the birthing ground of the science that we call economics. So economics came out of Spain, and Spain blew up throughout all of Europe in what we call the gold century of Spain, gold era of Spain. And the easternmost edge of the Spanish Empire was what the Spanish referred to as Austria, the easternmost edge of the Spanish Empire, Austria. So after the period of the First and Second World War, we enter into this like scholarly era called continental philosophy, which is what the fuck just happened? Humanity just fought itself, 2 nuclear bombs, the Holodomor, like over 10 million Ukrainians were starved to death, and the Holocaust. So this was a what the fuck is going on moment. Yeah. And during that era of really trying to figure out what was going on, in Austria and in Bavaria, where there was an intellectual powerhouse.
Okay.
Like, Germany was an intellectual powerhouse before the Second World War. It was the intellectual powerhouse. I mean, you had Martin Heidegger there in Friedberg at the University of Friedberg. You had a lot of like Martin Husserl. You had Husserl. You had you had a lot of amazing intellectuals there, and so one of the biggest mindfucks was like that a lot of these intellectuals actually became Nazis. Like Heidegger became a Nazi.
Yeah.
So a lot of his students ended up dying in concentration camps.
Wow.
This is crazy. I spoke about this at the Anarchapulco conference. This was like how I got into. So Austrian economics is what is called, which is actual real economics is discovered, which is what these monks in Spain had discovered centuries ago, which is nothing more than this realization that if you have virtue from a personal perspective, if you practice the virtues on your own, you will achieve happiness, right? But what does it mean to practice virtue in a communal setting? Well, for that, you need the agora, you need the market. You need to be able to go to a space where every individual human being brings value and shares value with one another, right? Whether it be bartering, whether it be using one medium of exchange, like we're using now with cryptocurrencies, right? So it's in the market. So really the heart of civilization is the market. And so one of these Austrian economists, Ludwig von Mises, said that the word civilization is nothing more than the concept, the idea. And he kind of echoes what these monks discovered in Spain, that civilization is nothing more than the idea that we yield more by working together than by working by ourselves.
Right.
That's it. That's it.
And during that exchange of everybody leaning in and contributing, then what's developed ultimately is a monetary system to where there's price discovery, right? Is that fair to say that? Because ultimately,
correct.
Yes.
Correct. So the heart of, this is what they try to keep from you in schools, right? They don't want to teach you this. The heart of the economy is you. You, the individual entrepreneur, you're the most important person in the whole economy. Mm-hmm. You are. It's not some central planner. It's not the head of the Federal Reserve or the World Bank. That's a lie. So they inculcate and they indoctrinate people throughout all the world in business faculties and economic faculties to think in terms of that indoctrination so that they bend the knee to authority, so that they don't think as entrepreneurs. Yeah. So that's really like the biggest issue in all of crypto. In the world, really. That's the biggest issue in the world in general. So yeah, that's pretty much where we're at.
So are you familiar with the NPC theory?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So I subscribe to it. I believe, and I was trying to explain it to her. What is the NPC theory for those who haven't heard about it? It is, if you think about a video game, and if your son, let's say you buy him a video game and he has the controller, right? He gets into the video game. He is the PC. He's the player character. He's the one that's making the decisions, and he can actually choose his character to go left or right. He thinks for himself, right? But then built into these video games are programmed these characters. And you may have, let's just say, two ladies across the street when you're walking down this main street. My son would be probably walking down Main Street with a gun looking to kill some pirates or something. No, not pirates. We love pirates. But I explained to my wife, I said, in that scenario, those non-player characters are the ones that are programmed in, and go try to argue with them and tell them to please go inside the store because there's a guy coming down the street with a machine gun. Just go ahead and try to argue with that television. To me, I believe we are living in this macro video game to where those of us watching this channel right now are probably PCs. You possess the ability to critically think. And when we get so frustrated out there dealing with mass society to where it just seems, how can they all not get it? How can they all just simply be fearful of things they shouldn't be fearing? And then you stop and think about it and you apply the NPC theory. You think they are just being programmed. They're being programmed by their televisions. And mass media is so powerful, and it is owned by so few that whatever the narrative is, 95%, if not more, of the people are going to just basically be programmed that way. And no matter how much we like to argue some sense into them, we can't. And so I will tell you that everything that you are going to see on mainstream news and hear about this world of cryptocurrency, I guarantee you is going to be pretty much false, which is why you want to be able to subscribe to the Crypto Vigilante and Dollar Vigilante, because that's where you're going to be able to get the truth. And part of that is, what is the difference between a Bitcoin and a privacy coin? That's a tee up for you, a long tee up. But if you could please share, I'd really invite you to do that, because the television is going to start talking to us about Bitcoin either being good or bad. I can't figure it out yet. It depends on their motives. But we know what privacy coins are, and that's why we're here today. Arrr!
Arrr, baby, arrr. So, yeah. So, thank you, Uncle Odd. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of NPC-ness out there because it's on purpose, right? It's on purpose. Government, like Jeff Berwick reminds us all the time, literally means government, the control of minds. So don't allow yourself to be programmed. Everyone's trying to program you. I mean, there's a whole school of thought and a whole space called marketing that is there to try to influence your subconscious mind. So if you're not programming your own subconscious mind, someone else is doing it for you. And that's why I commend you and thank you for being a content creator, Uncle Odd, because we need this in this world. We need to create our own media, our own outlets. And I love being here and I really appreciate what you're doing. So these monks discover that, then what is virtue, right? What is virtue when it comes to a society, to a communal level? It's nothing more than person-to-person interactions. That is really what the marketplace is about. Person-to-person interactions, because it is you, the individual person, who sees the excesses and deficits in real time in the economy around you. That's why for the Austrian economist, the most important person in the whole economy is not some central planner, is not a president, is not the head of the Federal Reserve or anything draconian or tyrannical like that, but rather it's you watching this. You are the most important person in all of the economy. So when the cypherpunks started realizing that, hey, we have this beautiful thing called technology that we could use.
Time out. just because
Sure, yes.
it's dedicated to newbies. Can you please explain what a cypherpunk is?
Oh yeah, it's just okay. So back in the day, they were a lot of programmers and people that were discovering computer science. The way that they would communicate with one another, what it was that they would actually write the code on paper, and they would send it in the mail across overseas, and then their buddies overseas would grab the code and spread it around their own buddies. And then they would go into their little computers. Back then, I mean, they had like tiny computers, right? In the 1980s, the first computers that came out. Okay. And they would plug the code in. They would copy, like literally copy paste, but like every little digit by number. And then they would compare notes and then mail themselves back and forth notes and code.
Cool.
So that's how it started.
Okay.
That evolved into what was known as a mailing list. Once we had like actual protocols where we could use, like email. Now mailing lists started evolving. Then military grade encryption in 1993 was made available to all of us in the world by a man by the name of Phil Zimmerman, who fought for us in courts in the US and all over the world. And he made it available to all of us. So we all have the ability of harnessing the power of military grade encryption now, that was what we call the first crypto war. So after that happened, now we're in like the second or third crypto war, which is like cryptocurrencies now, because not only are we sending messages on the internet that are encrypted, private, person to person. Remember, the most important person in all the economy is you, but now we're sending actual digital assets. So cryptocurrency, when Satoshi gave the world crypto, he gave us something we'd never experienced before, which is the notion of digital scarcity. How is it that I can't copy paste a Bitcoin? How is it that Bitcoin is digitally scarce? Right?
Great question.
That is a great question. Why can't I copy paste a Bitcoin? Because we have a cryptography that had been peer reviewed. Remember that the culture started with the whole notion of peer reviewing one another's code. It started by literally sending books through the mail, where the other guy on the other side of the ocean would type it into his computer and then write a letter back to the other guy. This is what this is the
knowledge drop, people. This is so cool. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really cool. That's how the internet pirates began, right?
Yeah.
They would share. It's nothing more than mathematics. That's all encryption is. So this is what I was able to accomplish with mathematics. What were you able to accomplish? Well, this was what I was able to accomplish. And they just kept building on that.
Look at this. Zimmerman. Do I have this right? Can you beat it up?
Exactly.
What am I missing? Can you contribute to it? Can you add to it? Oh, hey, wait, what? This is pretty cool. Maybe we could also do this. What do you think about that? Right? So is that kind of the exchange?
So that kept going on behind scenes. Obviously, the mainstream media will never tell you this.
Right.
One of the greatest things that ever happened in the world was this. And all of a sudden, we have an encryption, SHA-256, that has been peer reviewed. It's one of the most peer reviewed of encryptions algorithms in the world. SHA-256. That is what?
Spell it.
SHA-256.
Okay. SHA-256. SHA. Got it.
That is the encryption algorithm used to safeguard your Bitcoin. That is the encryption algorithm used by the Bitcoin protocol.
Okay.
That is a number, SHA-256. And when you do the math to its exponential, which is 2 to the exponential of, I forgot exactly the number. It equals a number that is a digit greater than all of the atoms known in the universe, in the known universe. So that's amazing.
Is that number, and this is probably just a stupid question, is that number also when they talk about the Fibonacci code or number or whatever, is that the one and the same, or are those apples and oranges?
It's different. It's different. It's just so the way that encryption works, think of like when you're in high school and you have those locks, right? And you had a 3 combination lock.
Yep.
So when you close the lock, it closes really easy, right? We call it that a one-way function, right? It closes and it locks. The only way to open the lock is by knowing exactly the 3 digits in its perfect consecutive order, right? Okay. So in a sense, you have, that is like very basic encryption, right? Very analog encryption. Okay. So the fastest computer in the world, this is how you measure the strength of an encryption. The fastest computer in the world, you would analyze how long it would take the fastest computer in the world to guess and check all of the possible numbers of your lock in the right sequence. And it is by guessing and checking those numbers that it is able to finally figure out the right 3 numbers in the right sequence to unlock your lock. Okay. So that is the strength of a one-way function. So the strength of a one-way function depends on how long, it would take the strongest and fastest computers in the world to guess and check till they arrive at that at the right combination, which is 3 digits. A computer would do that in seconds, like, or nanoseconds right now.
Are you about to truth drop what mining is? Is this going that direction, just so I can mentally prepare? Because that has really escaped me. Is that what mining is of these Bitcoins? Is computers trying to figure out how to unlock?
Mining it has to do with it, but I'm talking about what protects your wallet in Bitcoin, right?
Sorry for the.
So when I first got into Bitcoin and I had my first Bitcoin wallet, this was in 2012.
Jeez.
I ran the numbers of what of how long.
What was it trading at in 2012? Just curious.
I got it at $12. I got in at $12. But that doesn't mean no, but Uncle Odd, you have to understand, us guys that came in early, we also build the railways. So as much as we were bringing money in, we were spending it in, building the railways that everyone's using now. So a lot of us that came in early, people have this misconception that, oh, these guys must be loaded. No, we were building because we know no one else was building it for us. So they gave us this gift of this code. So now we have to build startups. We have to build exchanges. We have to build. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's great. And I would imagine that there are a few of you who along the way, when your $12 became $1,000, probably said, holy shit, I'm cashing in some chips, right? So
a lot of people did. There was a time though, like between 2014 and 2015, where there was a giant bear market, no activity. And so during that time, a lot of the guys that came in with me, we spent a lot of money because we knew that was a time to build. So we spend a lot of money building. Wow. And so we literally, if we had the vast majority of us, if we didn't have money like before Bitcoin, the vast majority of us spent all that money building the space that we have now, because we knew that someone had to do it. No one else was doing it. And so we actually created, you're welcome. We created the BitAngels network. And I was in charge of investor relations. So I was blessed to be the guy, one of the few guys in the world that got to see all of the early Bitcoin startups come through. And we helped them. We helped them prepare to present to investors. We made sure that the investors were qualified and all that good stuff, dotting the I's, the T's, and really finding these investor dreamers, because our philosophy at the BitAngels back then was anyone can sign a check, but who's really here that's going to do more than sign a check? Who's here that's going to give us intellectual capital and social capital that is needed? You know what I mean? I mean, I would go to banks and I would talk to banks and they would laugh at me. Like I would go talk. I got kicked out of banks. We spoke to a bunch of entrepreneurs in Mexico City. We spoke to, I'm not Mexican, but I went there to be there for this meeting. They spoke to what would be the head of their Federal Reserve down there, the Bank of Mexico. And they laughed at my buddies in Mexico. They laughed at them. And they said, this Bitcoin stuff, well, I don't think it's going to last more than a year. And the only thing that we find of value here is maybe this blockchain technology. Guess what? All of the people that used to work there, they're no longer there. But Bitcoin's still around. So what do you know?
Baby. Arrr, that's awesome.
Arrr, baby.
That's awesome. Well, just to touch on that and give you a little bit inside baseball of my day job. I am working with the host of Bitcoin.com, that podcast, gentleman named Dustin Plantholt, who this just is the crazy degrees of separation apart. I ended up coming across his path, a few months ago. If you go down below, you'll be able to find an interview with Dustin that I did with him. And he, like you, he came on, even though it's such a teeny tiny channel, just through networking, I realized I knew the guy. We had a great interview. And then we started talking afterwards about this business that he's pioneering that is in this space. Now, I happen to work for a serial entrepreneur who's an illionaire with a B, and our company is a company that starts companies. So that's what we do. We have 22 portfolio companies now. And so when you talk about having, yes, there we go. There you go. You're back. When you talk about being able to have an investor who adds incremental value, I know our company adds so much incremental value to the standard startup company. However, now that we're talking about the world of blockchain and cryptocurrency, we are presenting we've assembled the team to be able to present this coming Thursday, this amazing idea. When I ultimately tell you about it, you will say, holy shit, why didn't I think about this? This is going to change the world in this cryptocurrency blockchain ecosystem. It really is. With all my heart and soul, I'm a fairly smart guy. I can tell you it's going to change the world. I don't know if we're going to be the ones to invest in it or not, but if not, doesn't matter. It is that good of an idea. It will get investment dollars elsewhere. I just don't know if it's right for us.
Send me a pitch deck. I'll give you some feedback.
Okay, because but it's cool. The team that's assembled, you mentioned the Federal Reserve, was the CIO of the Fed Reserve, and he introduced blockchain technology to the Fed, and he has now resigned to join this team because he sees the vision. I bring that up only to say that when you look at, for an investor, if you can have one who adds value too. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if not us, another one to go to would be Pomp, right? Because he has an investment fund, but he gets it. He knows it. There's probably investors in your circle that, we could go to, but it's just so cool to be able to be speaking with you, Raphael, and learning your history to where you were building the guardrails on this. And it's so cool, and looking for the investors out there early into the ecosystem. So I tend to trust what you say. And at the conference, in Acapulco, especially, the first conference, you spoke an awful lot about Monero, and then at Acapulco, you introduced Pirate, and that's what this is about, which is Pirate. Can you please explain to us, A, Monero, B, Pirate, how they're different, and C, then we can just dive into that subject matter because there's a whole lot to talk about there.
Yeah, but you asked me a question earlier about peer-to-peer like cryptocurrencies and so let me say something and I'll lead up to answer your question.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good. So
I chase shiny objects. So and things are fleeting in my mind. I'm old. You're not old. So,
it's all good. So cryptocurrency came out of the cypherpunk movement and the Austrian School of Economics. So it was not built in a void. A lot of attempts were made in the past, but you have to understand that if you don't understand economics properly, if you follow economics in terms of how they teach you in school, which is Keynesian economics, you're going to be always operating under the assumption that you have to always be in submission to some authority, which does not allow for a lot of entrepreneurial,
right?
So you really have to understand economics at its heart, where again, in real economic theory, you're the most important person in the economy, You're the most important authority in your life and in the economy. You and no one else sees the excesses and deficits in the economy. You're the main person. So though when the cypherpunks understand, they come to Austrian economics and they understand what the Austrians are talking about, which is real economics. You know, the fathers of economics were these monks in Spain. It's just real economics, right? Then they start realizing, okay, so in order for humanity to really be happy, for us to achieve communal happiness and greatness, we have to open up the market, free the market, where we have to empower the entrepreneur. So that's kind of like that, coupled with cryptography and the notion that now cryptography gave us the means to achieve digital scarcity. We then had the key to start creating a medium of exchange, a digital medium of exchange that was sound and allowed for there to be a person-to-person interaction without the need of a third party that is censorship resistant. Ergo Bitcoin. So that is Bitcoin in its makeup from a philosophical, technical, and historical context. So that's how Bitcoin came to be. When Bitcoin first came to be, a lot of people were looking around. Actually, I am of the opinion that even within Team Satoshi, because I am of the opinion that Satoshi was a team of people.
Yes.
I think that within Team Satoshi, there were different disagreements as to what the final manifestation of this should be and could be. So that's why Bitcoin at the beginning, if you read like the cypherpunk mailing list regarding Bitcoin, the emails, if you read the conversations that people had with Satoshi and all of the early people that were around, what I've been able to gather is that there was a lot of disputes happening behind the scenes, even within Team Satoshi. So to the point that some of them wanted Bitcoin to be completely private and anonymous, for it to possess all of the characters of sound money, including fungibility, which is only achievable via complete privacy. And by fungibility, I mean that one unit of account is always equal to another unit of account of a digital asset, a cryptocurrency. So, for example, you see this with gold, silver, and even dollar bills, right? Or euros, yens, whatever, any shit fiat you want to take into this example, where $1 bill is always interchangeable and equal in value to another dollar bill, where 1 gram of gold is always equal and interchangeable for another gram of gold. And that is what that's what fungibility means. What happened is that so Bitcoin was launched 2008, 2009. It started growing. The dispute that happened, that I have a supposition of existing within Team Satoshi in the early days before everyone even knew about Bitcoin, I think that started unfolding itself. And a lot of people said, well, we should take this technology and use it to a lot of people said this technology was perfect in its inception and we should use it and just scale it as is. And the best manifestation of that is Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, BSV. Other people said, no, this technology is not for everything that it quote unquote could be, but we should just focus on the most important application in all of this, which is money itself. And let's just focus on that. And then you had like Bitcoin BTC, which emphasizes the notion that Bitcoin is a store of value in digital gold. Other people were like, you know what? No, this money, if it's going to be money, then it should be function as cash. And so we should have this Bitcoin for it to be useful in commerce, not just a store of value or digital gold. So there you have Bitcoin Cash, right? Bitcoin SV, BSV said, yes, we should use it as cash, but we should use all of the Bitcoin protocol in its totality and all of its opcodes. And we should use even not just as cash and as a store of value, but we should also use and harness Bitcoin's computational power, right? So a lot of people know I'm geeky about BSV. I like BSV because that's my perspective of Bitcoin, right? That's how I always understood Bitcoin to be. There were other people that said, okay, guys, well, you guys are kind of all getting it wrong. Yes, the most important aspect in all of this is sound money and a sound medium of exchange. But in order to do this correctly and to do this right, we can't do this on Bitcoin. We have to start from scratch because we need it to be fungible. I already explained what fungibility is.
Yep.
And in order for it to be fungible, it needs to be private by default at the protocol level. So then there was another Satoshi that a lot of people don't know about. It is other mysterious guy, which could have been a group of people as well, by the name of Nicholas von Saberhagen. And Nicholas von Saberhagen gave us what we know as CryptoNote, the CryptoNote white paper. And CryptoNote white paper was the foundational document that led to giving us what is now Monero. So now we have Monero, thanks to Nicholas von Saberhagen, the Monero Satoshi. So Monero emphasizes private by default at the protocol level, and it uses very well and peer-reviewed cryptography called ring signatures, which shuffles the money sent from the sender. The receiver, this is another technology that Monero has. Receiver has a stealth address, which it creates a decoy address for the receiver of the money. And the money sent is wrapped in its own encryption called ring CT, confidential transaction. And so you hide the sender by shuffling. The shuffle right now is at 11 shuffles. Right now, they're about to launch Triptych, which is another manifestation of this technology, which is going to allow Monero to have 128 ring signatures. So we're moving from 11, and we're going to be moving, to 128 ring signatures. Then we have ring CT, which hides the amount, which is hiding the amount, right, which of the amount sent. And then the stealth address protects the receiver. So that's Monero. Do you have any questions while I catch my breath?
Okay, because I'm a visual guy and I need to think in pictures. What you just said, I think, is if I want to send my daughter $100 bill across town, if it's Bitcoin, I'm going to call a courier and he's going to know my address and he's going to knock on the door. I'll open it. I'll give him the $100 and give him the address of my daughter. And he's going to take a route to get there. And at some point in time, his bike won't take him. He has to get on a bus with a lot of other people. And then that bus goes to a certain location, gets off. He rents another bicycle and he goes to my daughter's address, knocks on the door. She opens it up. There's not quite $100 there. It's only $92 now. So that's what I think of Bitcoin, and everybody out there is going to be able to tell exactly who, what address it came from, how much it was, and the route that the courier took to get it there from the day that $100 was minted. So
exactly the history, and even before you even have the dollar in your pocket, it has its own giant. Everyone can see where it was in the past from the moment it was minted to arrive to you and onto the future. So it's a completely transparent. We call it a transparent surveillance coin is what we call it at the Crypto Vigilante.
And through no fault of my own or your own or whoever is sending that $100 to their daughter, there could have been a time where that $100 was rolled up as it was rolled up and there was something snorted through it, because there's kind of traces on it. And that could have been, that $100 bill could have been transacted between these drug dealers, right? Or other nefarious things that could have happened to it. And who knows, one day, maybe the serial number on that dollar bill, the Fed or some government or whatever is going to say, you know what, that's tainted. We're going to just lock up that dollar bill so it can't be used. Now, that's spreading FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. I don't think that's...
No, it's actually truth, Uncle Vigilante. It's not really FUD. It's truth, because if you were to take that dollar, that Bitcoin, to an exchange, and let's say you did not get this Bitcoin from an exchange, but you got it from someone that you met at Starbucks.
Yeah.
They're going to, if that Bitcoin is tainted and you take it to an exchange like Coinbase or Kraken or whatever, guess what they're going to do? They're going to lock down your account, freeze all your accounts in that exchange. And they're going to ask you, Uncle Vigilante, prove to us that you were not part of that illicit transaction. because now that Bitcoin that you took to that exchange is tainted. Exactly. It's tainted.
Let me do that again. That is a very important point. That is a very important point. That's why that's why Bitcoin is not a privacy coin. And I think that gives us now with Monero, then I think from Bitcoin with my daughter, Monero in my mind is I live in my neighborhood and I order up 12 couriers to each come knocking on each door in the neighborhood, and each, so anyone observing doesn't know who gives what courier $100. And then what they do at the center of the neighborhood is they huddle up like they're, a football team, and they pass around that $100. Nobody can see because they're tight within the huddle who actually is going to palm the 100. And then they all go their separate directions and they go their different ways. And then they go to another neighborhood. And all of a sudden, these 12 people, they're knocking on different doors and nobody knows which door they gave the $100 to. So there's a lot more privacy in that, because to be able to determine who got what, that would be a big mathematical equation. Do I have that right?
Correct. Yes. And it grows exponentially, because the more you move money from a Monero wallet to a Monero wallet, that increases like exponentially the amount of couriers that could potentially carry the transaction. So you're doing, 11 times 11 times 11 times 11. It actually, yeah, it's exponentially. It's exponential.
Okay, that's I hadn't thought of it in those terms. Okay.
And it goes backwards and forwards in time. Now, in terms of backwards and forwards in time, the example we just talked about, the exchange with Bitcoin, actually gets more freaky and scary. So listen to this, Uncle Odd. So imagine you are you're a law-abiding person, and you are like, I am gonna just buy my Bitcoin at an exchange, go through the KYC AML process.
What is KYC for newbies?
Know your customer, and AML, anti-money laundering process.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So you go through that process, you give them your retina scan, your whatever it is now, a sample of your DNA.
Anal swab.
Your first, anal swab, your firstborn son, whatever it may be. You give that to them at the exchange so you can buy some clean Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin that has gone through their channels of the financial institution you're purchasing it from. And you attain it. Now you have it in your possession. Let's say that you go and you go to a garage sale or something, and someone's selling a bike for Bitcoin. You pay for the Bitcoin, and you get your bike, and then that Bitcoin, since it's meant to be person to person, as a technology, that Bitcoin just keeps being passed around from person to person throughout the world. 95 transactions later, it's involved in some transaction deemed illicit in some jurisdiction in the world. Guess whose door they're going to be knocking on? Yours, because you were the last person to use a KYC AML exchange. So then it's already, there's a precedent to that. Like Paxos Exchange was the first one to actually do this shit on people, like last year. Like, hey, you sent your Bitcoin to a wallet. It wasn't even involved in an illicit transaction, Uncle Odd. It was involved in sending it to a wallet that gives people a little more privacy, like Wasabi or Samurai. That person's exchange shut their down, like literally froze their account. They had to prove that they were not involved in anything illicit. It's so Bitcoin in the early days, Bitcoin was private enough because there wasn't any blockchain analytics behind it. So we always knew that Bitcoin was pseudonymous. We used to call it not anonymous, pseudonymous. We always knew that there could be a problem with the Bitcoin's fungibility, also with Ethereum's fungibility. Actually, almost all of crypto is surveillance transparent coin, other than real privacy coins.
Yes.
So that's where we're at, Uncle Odd. That's where we're at. We champion.
before you introduce pirate, can I give you my analogy of what I think it is to just round out my daughter's analogy? With pirate, it's like you tell your daughter you're going to send her $100 and you have an invisible courier involved. You open your door, you reach your $100 out and it goes poof, it disappears. It's totally invisible. Nobody knows the route it takes to get there, except you know that there's her address, and all of a sudden when she wants to, she opens the door and poof, the $100 appears. Not $92, but like $99.9. You know, it's a small transaction fee.
Literally everything appears. It's crazy how fast and cheap a pirate chain is. It's incredible. I am blown away by this technology. It's state-of-the-art cryptography.
Yeah.
It's zero knowledge proofs, and it's fascinating to me.
Explain in a non-Uncle Odd way. So my way with my daughters.
You're sending your money into a void, pretty much.
Okay.
It's gone into the abyss. It's almost as if you went to Fermilab and you know CERN and they open a wormhole, and the courier, instead of giving it to a courier, just tossed it into like a black hole that they created, and it just appears in like could it be in any dimension, and you just don't know in which one. So in any possible realm, it could be.
So it's almost like, since we're pirates, you have a treasure chest full of coins in your somewhere where you buried it, and you just think in your mind, I want to send 100 of those coins to my daughter, and you just go, you click your heels 3 times or whatever you do, and boom, it appears in her treasure chest wherever she's buried it, and the total value is there. It just happens. We don't have to know how. I don't know how an airplane works, but I just trust that it does, that there are competent people who do, and apparently there are competent coders with Pirate who have begun the project with invisible privacy in mind. Fair to say?
Yeah, 100%. So it's also peer-reviewed cryptography. Yeah, Pirate Chain is incredible. I'm blown away by it.
Is it the future?
I really am.
Is this one of those moments right here where Uncle Odd tells you that, you know, I listened to Jeff Berwick, his Friday video, and I went for a late afternoon walk on Saturday, smoking a cigar, because Uncle Odd likes to smoke a cigar and walk and listen and learn while I'm losing weight or keeping weight off. And he started talking about Pirate Chain. And he started talking about how people are going to laugh when they say, you bought it at $2. So I tend to trust him and I trust you. So the second I got home, and I had a friend confirm this, that you got to do it. And he pointed me in the right direction. So on Sunday, I made it my mission to take, you know, let's just call it a Bitcoin. And I decided to take half of that Bitcoin and just go all in on Pirate. So I went through the process. I went to pirate.black. I got the wallet. I did the full node wallet on my computer. And then I went to the exchange that they recommended, Trade Ogre. I set that up and I ended up sending my Bitcoin. You have to send Bitcoin there. And I did everything magically happened. It ultimately appeared in my wallet after a long, long time. We can talk about the whole process there. It kind of freaked me out a bit. But anyway, I got it and I locked everything up and I went back for another walk on Sunday. And I started thinking in my mind, I'm like, okay, I bought it at $3.17. And I'm like, Jeff said there are going to be people laughing about buying it at $2. Well, $3.17 isn't that far off of it. I thought, screw it. I came back and I sent the rest of my Bitcoin in to convert it. So now my average is like 325, right? And today I think it hit 468 was the high so far. I've never had that kind of return in less than 24 hours. But tell me where you think this can go. And I know, we're not giving investment advice. I'll have all of the disclaimers in here. I gave the disclaimer at the beginning, but just give me your experience, strength, and hope, Raphael. Where could this go and when? I can't hear you. Lost you.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. All right. Well, I'm here. Can you hear me now?
I can. Thank you.
Okay, good. So if you go to CoinGecko and you search for like Zcash, SEZEC, Zcash. Zcash was the first iteration of this technology, but they did it wrong. I think these people were compromised. I don't think they were doing a good job. They Zcash was the first cryptocurrency to have zero knowledge proofs. But they have it optional. And at the Crypto Vigilante, optional privacy is no privacy at all. So it was really hard for people. It has always been really hard to use zero knowledge proofs.
Okay, here's
not Xcash, no, Zcash with the Z.
Sorry.
So Z, there you go, right there, number 54. There you go, the first one. There you go. Okay, so you're seeing that Zcash is at $226, right?
Yep.
Zcash is a very half-assed version of Pirate Chain. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but it's the truth. They were the first ones to have this technology, but this technology was optional, so it was never useful. If it's not by default private, it's not private at all. Only like 0.6% of the people in the Zcash network, this was the last study that I saw, were using the privacy of zero knowledge proofs, the Z addresses we call them.
Yeah.
But so out of that 6%,
right here, I just pulled up my Blockfolio, and I have a fair amount of Zcash. So note to self, convert that to pirate. Would you confirm that?
I'm just telling you my research. Okay. You guys do with your investment decisions as you please. Right. I mean, that's the thing. It's like at the end of the day, every individual person pulls a trigger in their own personal life. Everyone has their own time preference. Everyone has their own knowledge. When anyone asks me about crypto and what they should do in crypto, I tell them that the most important thing you should do is study. Is sit down in front of a computer, go to a cabin and start researching and do your own research.
Amen. Yeah. Can I add to that just because of what I believe to be qualified newbie experience is that I also think that you need to get in the game and start ugly, even if that just means you take a few $100s and you just say, I don't care if I lose it all, I won't, but I am going to figure out how to get it out of my bank account onto an exchange, buy some coins, get it into, a hot wallet on your computer, just start learning the language. If you do that, that's where the education really begins. I personally can read about something all day long. I can hear about something all day long, and then I just forget it. I just don't have that kind of brain that just can grasp that stuff until I do it. When I do it, it just sears it into my knowledge base. So I agree with you. Study, but at the same time, execute as well.
So you, if you want to pull up that Zcash chart again, I'll show you something real quick. Bet. So as you see, the price is at like 228.
Yep.
Keep in mind that the supply of Zcash is 21 million, as you see right there. The supply for Pirate Chain is 200 million. So in order for us to assess, I think in order to make a good assessment as to like what I personally think the market should be evaluating Pirate Chain at right now, do this.
I got
divide by 10. divided by 10. So I think the proper price of Pirate Chain for what it offers people, which it's offering what Zcash could have offered but never did. I think Pirate Chain should be around $22 right now.
Okay.
22.8. That's kind of like where I'm at with it because and if you look at how many Pirate Chain, how many are in supply in comparison to how many Zcash are in supply, you'll see that there's 10 times more Pirate Chain in supply. So I would say that a Pirate Chain should be evaluated around at least $22. It is superior technology than what Zcash has because it's actually using it like you're supposed to. So
here we go.
Yeah. And if you want to, look at the real competitor that Pirate Chain's up against is not Zcash, it's Monero. XMR. Yeah, Monero right there. And Monero is at $314. So I mean, you're looking at, I would say that if you were to,
do you have to divide it though because it's 17 million versus 200 million?
Well, it is, and it has
divided by 25 maybe.
It's actually a more. It's supposed to be 18, but the thing with Monero is that it doesn't have a complete hard cap. Monero has a tail end emission of like very, very, very small emission that it goes on for in perpetuity, and that's because people are going to lose their Monero over time, and miners in the future, once the block reward ends, need to be compensated somehow. So that little tail end emission is to keep is keeping in mind that in the future we're going to need. So symptomatically, it's asymptotic. We call it the asymptotic deflationary.
Okay.
Right? It's not a hard cap like Bitcoin or Zcash of like 21 million and that's it, but it's asymptotically deflationary.
Can you educate me, Raphael? So when I see 431, okay, and or let me back the bus up. When I see that these coins, some of these coins, moon, which gave that moon word meaning, which is all of a sudden they go parabolic, they go to the moon. Why does that usually happen? I'm really trying to wrap my mind around the why.
What exactly? Why a coin
might go from 431 one day to tomorrow it's $20.
Good money drives out bad money, Uncle Vigilante. It's as simple as that. And we live in a world where the government enforced fiat is, they're killing themselves. They keep printing money out of thin air. The purchasing power of your dollar decreases constantly. What used to cost you $20 now is probably $200.
Right.
So it's good money drives out bad money. And when you really have good money, this is the thing about good money. Good money is an asset class that when it's really good, it's not only a store of value that is digital gold, but it's also works amazing as cash, like Pirate Chain and Monero.
Okay.
And when you have good money, it makes you lucky in the economy. What does that mean? Because when you have money, good money, I'm not talking about dollars. Dollars, I wouldn't consider them good money, or euros or any fiat. But when you have good money, it makes you luckier in the economy. Why is that? Because you can take advantage of limited time offers. So let's say tomorrow your neighbor has an amazing business, but for some reason in his life, he needs to exit the market and he needs to divest right now. Mm-hmm. So the person that has cash at hand is going to be able to take advantage of that limited time offer. And that's why having sound money makes you the luckiest of people in the economy. Not lucky as in luck in the draw, but lucky in realistically speaking, you're able to take advantage of real-time offers. Now, when you have dollars, if you put a lot of your money into dollars, euros, or yen, sure, you could make the argument that yes, you can invest in someone that needs to divest right away, and, you know, take advantage of limited time offers. But if you, for how long will you be waiting around for that lucky opportunity to appear? Because in the meantime, we're experiencing hyperinflation of the dollar. So it's not good money to hold as an asset class, right?
Right.
So
just explain to newbies hyperinflation. So if you have $100 in the bank today, as I understand it from Michael Saylor, and if for those of you who want to get smarter here, I have a couple links below. One is to the Michael Saylor series on what is money. And if you click on the link, it'll take you to the fourth one on Bitcoin. And then there's a number 8 you want to watch too. But those are invaluable. So it's really important for you. And what he says is that when you take a look at the inflation that's out there and how your purchasing power of your $100, he believes, and I don't know what you think, Raphael, but he believes that year over year, the purchasing power of your dollar decreases by 15%. I had heard 2% before, but he really makes sense out of it when he tells you, but he's speaking to CFOs. He's talking about corporate treasuries. Where does a CFO invest their corporate treasuries? And he makes a sound argument that you want to put it in Bitcoin instead of just leave it there as cash, because year over year, you're losing 15%. That's a big number. Would you agree with that 15%?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I honestly haven't calculated the math for that to know if it's 15% or not. But I will say something about Michael Saylor. I'm really not impressed by him, to be honest.
Really?
Because hell no. No, I mean, who in their right mind puts the money of a business with shareholders into a transparent surveillance coin? Who does that? You are only inviting financial voyeurism into your portfolio. That makes no sense. Bitcoin, I think he's wrong. I think he thinks he bought Monero. That's his problem. He thinks he bought Monero. That makes no sense. And now he's paying off. What he's doing is that he's paying off his board members and his shareholders in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Dude, you're inviting financial surveillance, and not just surveillance from governments and banks, but from anyone in the world.
Man,
anyone in the world. Dude, I can sit here with you, and if you give me enough time, I promise you that if I wanted to, I don't want to waste my time doing this, but I could probably figure out what wallets he has his money in and where he's moving his money from.
Right.
Like, you don't, like, come on, man. Like, you don't put, if I was running a company like that, I would never put my money of the treasury into a surveillance coin, into a transparent surveillance coin. There's just no way. That's fiscally irresponsible. That's fiscally irresponsible. I think he should know better, to be honest.
Yeah, you're not opposed to him putting into crypto versus the dollar, so the crypto asset class or a portion of the treasury. What you're against is the selection of coin. And
well, it's more than that, Uncle Odd, because like, these are publicly traded companies, right? Yeah. And if you start a trend where you are, see, the thing is that at this moment in time, in terms of privacy and security,
yeah,
Bitcoin and Ethereum are more dangerous than the dollar.
Wow.
Yeah, think about it. The dollar doesn't have an open ledger. I give you $1 right now, Uncle Odd, and if I give you that $1, no one's gonna know I gave it to you. I give my cousin, my little cousin, here's $50, go buy some candy. No one knows about this transaction that just happened. But if I were to give them, hey, here's $50 worth of Bitcoin Cash. Here's $50 worth of Bitcoin BTC. Here's Bitcoin BSV, $50 of Ethereum. The whole world. I just publicized that transaction to the whole planet.
Wow. Okay.
You see the gravity of what we're talking about here?
So let's say that you are a family of absolute strict vegans. And it is preached inside your home that we only eat plant-based food. And you give your niece, who's also a vegan, from a vegan family that $50, and she looks around and she goes and she gets her a big, healthy Big Mac with those 2 slices of beef and that cheese on there. Nobody knows, right? But you're saying if it was these other options, Mama Vegan, Papa Vegan, they can keep track and they can say, oh, no, you didn't go to the farmer's market and pick up those veggies. You went to McDonald's. We're writing you out of the will. I mean, that's where it comes down to. If you use Bitcoin and things that can be tracked, you could be written out of your parents' will. Correct?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? It's even worse. If you have the wrong opinion, you could be censored. I mean, it's in the world we live in now. Come on. I mean,
great point.
And not just that, but the thing about Saylor and all these guys that are coming in, remember, these guys have been indoctrinated by legacy finance. And there was a guy named Jesus Christ that said you can't put old wine into new wineskins. These guys want to put old wine into new wineskins. No, baby, you need new wine.
Okay. So
yeah, at the Crypto Vigilante, we teach you about the new wine. And how to actually work the new wine and how to properly use new wineskins with new wine. You can't do this, bring in this old world mindset into crypto. Now, see, this is how confused people are. Saylor is actually calling for more blockchain analytics on Bitcoin, on Ethereum, on all these transparent coins. So you are creating the Eye of Sauron is really what you're creating with Bitcoin, BTC, BSV, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, all these transparent surveillance coins. It's kind of scary, to be honest. That's why at the Crypto Vigilante, we love privacy coins. Yeah, because we know, and to be honest, Uncle Odd, we've even started to call privacy coins real cryptocurrencies.
I love it. Real crypto. So, personal question to you. You don't have to answer it then. I presume that you keep only the amount of Bitcoin that you need, that you personally perhaps feel that that for all the right reasons, of which you are obviously very passionate about, that the real crypto is in privacy coins. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin, when properly used, and I'm a big fan of BSV. Okay. Is incredible as a global ledger for applications that where you need to be interconnected with other people and you need to cooperate with other people. Okay. So I like what I'm a big blocker in the Bitcoin Civil War. I was part of the big blocker contingent. Okay. That makes me, and I am a miner maximalist. I'm of the opinion that the miners own the club. They are not the bouncers of the club. So miners really call the shots, right? Okay. So that's my opinion of Bitcoin. And so I really like what people in BSV are doing, because they're taking Bitcoin in its original form to its logical conclusion for it to be a global ledger for applications, for businesses. It's really beautiful what they're doing. I really like that understanding of Bitcoin. The BTC understanding of Bitcoin wants it to be digital gold and a store of value, but you fail right away because you're not fungible by default at the protocol level. So no, you're not digital gold. Pirate Chain is digital gold. Monero is digital gold. WowNero is digital gold. You can say those have the qualities of digital gold. They have sound monetary theoretical qualities, which is one of the most important ones, fungibility. Bitcoin is not fungible. If anyone tries to tell you that Bitcoin is fungible, they're lying to you. There's no way Bitcoin is fungible. You can't make Bitcoin fungible, guys. If anyone tells you that, they're lying to you. Okay, run.
Let me ask you a personal question here. I'm gonna be a little open kimono here, but I'm an older guy, so and I've been fortunate and I've been disciplined over the years to invest as much as I could every year into 401ks and IRAs, and there have been matching and whatnot. So I only recently, in the last
6 weeks, my mission has been to liquidate all of those, roll them over into a self-directed IRA LLC where I can actually control the checkbook and I can trade in cryptocurrencies. So I set that up, and I was able to get my deploy it into a portfolio that included, let's just say it included a Bitcoin. And I already talked about what I did with 50% of that. Here's my question. In the rules and regulations of the IRS, that Bitcoin, because it is transparent, so they know that I bought that Bitcoin and it's within this LLC, right? Now I took half of that Bitcoin and I sent it in, and now I have the equivalent of pirate in my portfolio. If I ultimately, by the time I'm 72 and have to withdraw, no matter how much the value of that R grows, if all I do is take that and replace that other Bitcoin in my LLC, because that's transparent and I can track that I bought one Bitcoin and I still have a Bitcoin. If what you're telling me is true, they can't know shit about any of the pirate. Am I right or am I wrong?
Well, it's just like having cash, right? Or it's just a digital, it's just an asset class that is new, but it's just like holding cash, right? I mean, there's nothing illegal for holding cash. Cash is fungible. Cash is anonymous. Cash is private.
Right.
So it's just like holding cash. It's all it is holding cash.
Yeah, but cash, $1 of cash today, at least on paper, literal paper, is $1 of cash by the time I'm 72. $1 of pirate could be worth $1,000 by the time I'm let's just fantasize 72.
Well, so, if we're gonna fantasize, well, we can say that. Wait, what if tomorrow, the government of the U.S. became wise and started going back into a gold standard and stopped printing money out of thin air, and then all of a sudden, we started seeing, I don't know, they started taking measures into making their money more sound, more deflationary instead of inflationary, then maybe we can see that the dollar could actually gain in value over time, and your purchasing power can increase over time. This is, I mean, if we're talking fantasy land here, right. Sure. Sure. We I mean, the dollar, there is, I don't think it's possible anymore, but hypothetically there could be, or there could have been an opportunity for the dollar to have been rescued, right? If we maybe would have stayed under the gold standard and so forth, which, that's a whole story on its own.
Sure.
So yeah, I think I mean, you're asking a question that then would belong to an accountant, right? Talk to an accountant.
Yeah.
Talk to your local IRS agent about it. But I think
at bottom,
I don't know.
At bottom, it does have to do with the literal privacy and invisibility of the pirate. So I'm just trying to wrap my mind around it. I'm going to be a law-abiding tax dude, right? And and I just want to know, because to me it's like, I'm like, how the hell would anyone know where those go or don't go, or how many, or I don't know. I lost you again. Can't hear you.
Technically, hypothetically, you could do the same with Bitcoin. I mean, imagine a lot of guys that were like miners back in the early days. Mm-hmm. They mined the Bitcoin and maybe they exchange it back and forth amongst their buddies. Nobody knows who those guys are. Nobody knows who owns those wallets of Bitcoin. So those Bitcoin are anonymous as well, right? And when the time comes that they have to cash out, then they would have to, I mean, I guess I check with your accountant, check with your attorney, but I think in the US that would be capital gains.
Yeah.
Capital gains tax.
It seems to me if I have one Bitcoin in the bank, in my LLC bank, and if I exchange that for half of that,
it'll show that now my basis for the Bitcoin is, let's just call it, we're dealing with $1,000. My Bitcoin starts with $1,000. I trade $500 for the Arrr. And as long as I ultimately put back another half a Bitcoin to say that's where I started with, the Arrr, I don't know. Yeah, it's something that we got to figure out, because I think the Internal Revenue Service, they are so far behind on this ecosystem. It's going to take a long time for them to catch up. And when they do, I just want to make sure those of us are protected and that we've thought ahead, and they don't arbitrarily come and say, oh, no.
Well, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is profitable for everyone, not just for you and me. I think governments are going to become extremely profitable using crypto. Mm. And a lot of this is going to be, I already know that a lot of governments are thinking and working on becoming like Bitcoin miners themselves, and miners of Monero, miners of all these coins, because they understand that this is the future. They understand that there's no way they can like fight this or get rid of this, because it's like a hydra. The more that they ever try to fight it, the stronger it gets.
Right.
So you have a lot of countries right now, a lot of big powerhouses, like becoming miners. And so I wouldn't be surprised if the US government realizes that they're going to be better off, becoming a Bitcoin miner, because then they'll be able to remember Bitcoin is an open ledger, right? Mm-hmm. Open, transparent ledger. That would be the easiest way for them to like see transactions.
Yeah.
Censor transactions that they deem illicit, go after criminals if they choose to do so. So what I'm trying to say, Uncle Odd, is you have to, what I see is that these technologies give people value, right? And they're not, I don't emphasize the notion of hiding, because hiding is, I don't want to live in a world where you're constantly hiding. That's bullshit. No, right. I want to live in a world where I'm free, where you're free, where everyone's free. And the way to go about that is through hyper-capitalism. So it is by creating value that we better the world. It's by creating things of value that everyone is better off. There are nation states, there are global powers right now that are becoming Bitcoin miners as we speak. They're investing in Bitcoin mining. And so they're going to be investing in all these other cryptocurrencies, because you can't do away with them anymore. You can't. Right. There's no way of stopping this. So regardless of the optics that they might show you to scare you away here and there regarding crypto, know that there's no putting this cat. There's no way to stop this anymore.
No putting the toothpaste back into the toothpaste container. Yeah, that would get
exactly.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. So I know that you are you in Miami or heading to Miami today?
I'm headed to Miami. So I got to get going. I'm headed to a conference I'm going to be speaking at. I'm going to be talking about, come again?
Which conference?
It's called the Crypto Expo.
Awesome.
Yeah, you should come out. You're not that far.
I know I'm not that far. I looked at the cat, and when you told me that, I'm like, oh, I need to go. But I have my wife's birthday in between.
Okay. But there's going to be another one, though. There's going to be other conferences.
Another one. And by the way, we all have to have our goals. My goal is, you have Dollar Vigilante, Crypto Vigilante at dollarvigilante.com, and you have all of these other content providers that are coming over, that you guys are becoming the safety space for people who actually have a voice and are willing to put themselves at risk of being censored. And you guys have provided a little safe space. So one day I hope Uncle Vigilante earns a seat at the table over there, because I love what you guys are doing. And just love to be
part. Keep doing what you're doing, Uncle Vigilante. The harvest is plenty and the workers are few, right?
You got it. You
just
got
keep doing what you're doing. The beautiful thing about crypto is that it changes people from within. Yes. Because crypto is a very we not only discovered a new asset class, but we're kind of rediscovering each other in
That's
crypto.
True. That's true.
Humanity's rediscovering itself.
I think cryptocurrency at its basis is the land of playing characters, not NPCs. I really do. It's coming to me now. I think if you're into crypto, you probably are a playing character, which is really kind of cool. That's why I love the community. Hey, I know you got to scoot. Thank you so much for giving me, over an hour and a half of your time, and safe travels. And I know you're just gonna crush it with your presentation, and I can't wait to see it somewhere online.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'll be debating Bitcoin Cash. Like, it's going to be a big blocker Bitcoin debate between Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SB. Yeah, I really like BSV. So we're going to, BSV is not a privacy coin, guys. Don't get that wrong.
Right.
It's a surveillance transparent coin. But what I do like about it is that it's hyper capitalistic, and it allows you to create applications on the Bitcoin SV blockchain. And yeah, so I'll be talking about that.
Say one last thing. Ultimately, what is the utility short term of pirate? Because it's going to be rare few people out there who even know about it. So how can you necessarily transact day to day with pirate? Will they ever get to the point to where there'll be a credit card associated with it or anything like that?
Uncle Vigilante, that is for the market to do. I mean, honestly, yeah, why not? Look, so I remember when you were at the Crypto Vigilante Summit, yeah. TCV Summit, we had an amazing compliance officer there by the name of Justin Ehrenhofer.
Right. He was sharp.
And he's amazing. And he said that for the world of compliance and for governments, it's actually better for them to have and to be welcoming of privacy coins, of what we call real cryptocurrencies, right? And why is that? Because when they are welcoming of them, then they can acquire the metadata necessary around the cryptocurrency. So let's say instead of you having to like figure out, how to buy pirate, which, a lot of people use TradeOgre,
right,
non-KYC AML exchanges, you could also use like Bitcoin.com, exchange.bitcoin.com. You can also use Polarity Exchange. The Edge wallet, the Edge non-custodial exchange is going to be adding Pirate Chain too. Right. But the thing is that if you're a regulator, the smartest thing would be for them for all the exchanges to welcome privacy coins, because it is privacy is a good thing and it's a necessary thing. Mm-hmm. But it also comes with a double-edged sword. There is value in keeping people accountable, especially people in power accountable. And that's why I like Bitcoin still. That's why I like, but Bitcoin when it's used properly, right? That's why I really like BSV, because I think it's the most proper use of Bitcoin, because it really harnesses everything that's possible with Bitcoin, including smart contracts and all that good stuff. But it opens the dialogue so we can have a space that if we need to have a place of interaction with others, that can be a place where we can hold each other accountable if we ever need to. So everything in every technology, every tool in this world has its benefits and drawbacks. Everything does. A hammer, a sickle, everything. Heck, even this bottle, this bottle is, this is probably one of the biggest used weapons in history. Bar fights. This right here could kill someone, but it's a bottle. It serves the purpose of giving me the nourishment that I'm taking in right now. So everything has its benefits and drawbacks. I see a future. My ideal future would be one where we're all using the Bitcoin blockchain at scale in its original form for a lot of cool stuff that we do out in the open. And then in your personal life, you use a privacy coin like you do right now. I don't know how much money you have in your pocket at this moment. Right. I don't know how much money you have in your wallet at this moment. Yeah. That would be invasive. That would be draconian. That would be messed up, Right. So be wary of anyone in mainstream and what they're saying to you about cryptocurrency.
We should all know that.
Be careful of the Elon Musk and the Michael Saylors and what they say and what they do.
Yeah.
Because you know who they play ball with, right? They're not playing ball with us, the people. They're playing ball with the Druid Babylonian bastards.
You got it.
That's where they're at. That's why they're at where they're at. You know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I have the last question of the day that I'm really interested. If you take a look at the beginning of the internet, and we compare that to the beginning of Bitcoin, so back in 2009, right? And fast forward from the beginning of the internet to today, and that's a football field, right? So where are we in comparison with this blockchain ecosystem in that continuum? And the reason why I'm asking this is I really want people to think in terms of, as newbies, it almost feels like we've already missed out on so much. Man, you're right.
So your analogy is a spectrum between when the internet started to where we're at now.
Yes.
That's the complete football field. That's a touchdown. Okay.
Yes.
And that would be in comparison to from when Bitcoin started in 2008 to where we're at now.
Bitcoin started in 2008, and let's say, give it the same amount of years. Let's call it 30 years. So by 2040,
we are literally, I think, in like first down of like no more than the 10-yard line.
Okay.
Like beginning. We're just getting started. We're just getting started. It's wild. This is wild how early we are.
That should be leaving people with a real encouraging feeling, which is this is new, but it's proven. You are not on the bleeding edge, but you are on the leading edge. There's 90 yards to go to play this game. So don't worry about looking at Pirate Chain at $4.60 right now and thinking, shit, if I would have invested in it last week, it would have been $2, but it's already moon. So that's a bad investment. I missed the boat. Don't think that way. You can't think that way. You have to think long term, and we're at the 10-yard line. So I think that's a good place to end, my friend. I love you. I appreciate you. And we'll have to do this again. Have a quarterly check-in here.
Yeah, let's do that for sure.
That's awesome. All right, well, go kick some ass in your debate, Raphael.
I'll do that. Thank you for everything, Uncle Odd.
All right, we're rooting for you.
Arrr,